books that I've read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. She is the founder and CEO of a Home Hub AI, a tech startup creating an ecosystem of smart home owners. None other than Miss Dianne Wheeler.
Thank you, Daniel. It's a pleasure to be here.
Welcome, Miss Diana. Book 101 review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Yeah, I am a tech startup founder who never realized I always wanted to do that. I actually came up in the ranks from working in finance for more than 25 years and thought that everything had to be according to plan that you started in a career, you worked your way up the corporate ladder, and you retired with a wonderful either pension or 401k or whatnot, and life was good. And one day I had an idea, and so that is what kicked off and started my thought process about how do I become an entrepreneur. But interestingly, and later we're going to talk about books, it's actually what I was meant to do. And so very excited to be here, very excited to share what I've learned and, how to hop on in when you have an idea that just won't leave you alone.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Miss Diane. Thank you for empowering us. Let's talk about women creating space in tech. Let's start by defining the action in the topic that we are creating space. It implies an active or generative act. How is this fundamentally different from simply getting seat or existing table, or why is that distinction so critical?
So I learned probably about 2 years ago, actually 5 years ago, now that I think about it. I've been out of the corporate world for more than 3 years. This concept called design thinking. And design thinking says that instead of looking at how do you create either a tech widget or some sort of a cool, piece of software or whatnot, and figuring out who the audience is, you reverse it. So creating space in tech, especially when you're not from the tech world, as I'm not, means you're looking at where is a gap, where is space that is not being addressed by anyone, and then coming up with what is the solution, which means you have to go to the audience of users first before you start to create what it is that's going to be the solve. And so it really kind of reverses that role when you think about creating space, where often people don't even realize there should be a seat at the table.
Indeed, Ms. Diane, so the concept was or has both internal and external dimensions. Internally, what does it mean for a woman to create a space for her own ambition, voice, and leadership style in tech environment that may not be have template for it?
Yeah, you have to not be afraid to bring people in with you that do go ahead and complement your strengths. And something that I learned is women tend to try to do everything. We are masters at micro looking at things. We're masters at gathering. We're masters at really understanding the being able to give our focus to a lot of different things at the exact same time. And so when you are able to bring people around you that can help offset some of the things that you're not the most skilled at or the best at, you end up creating an environment, or like I call it, an ecosystem that brings the solution or the company along further and faster and a little bit more formidable too. We are always looking at how many points away from failure are we, and when you have an entire team of people, that number of points raises. Whereas if it's only you trying to create the company yourself, oftentimes if something happened to you, the company would often fail. So those are just a couple of things I've learned, that a team of people is huge, that making sure that you are finding talent that complements what you do, and making sure that you create that ecosystem where sharing and communication is the um, bare minimum of what we do together. So
Miss Diane, so let's talk about your app. What is all about Home Hub AI?
yeah, so I love this question because I'm going to take you back a little bit of time as far as when I came up with the idea. I literally had bought a house and I was really just inundated with manuals and warranties and documents and everything you can think of to make sure that all of the regulations, the compliance, everything was checkmarked according to everyone that was involved in the transaction. And there was a part of me that said, this is great for the transaction. I was truly given white glove treatment. I get into the house, and then all of a sudden, I felt very ghosted. And not because people didn't want to help me. In some cases, I didn't know how to ask for help. Or in some cases, I didn't know who to even ask for help. For example, if you want, you know, a really amazing closet system, say, there's a lot of companies out there that provide that type of expertise, and the price tag ranges from a little bit more high end than a do it yourself, all the way up to luxury closet finishes. And there was just something where I said, boy, it'd be nice if I had a way to put everything into one ecosystem. I use that word a lot, into one program, and help me to realize what applies to me and what doesn't apply to me. And so Home Hub AI is a resource that every homeowner can use in order to figure out how to store their documentation, help to store their cost of ownership, help to store the value of their property, of their asset, especially when the asset property goes up, the value of it makes you kind of smile. They have the ability to store all of the maintenance and how often it's performed. And so our app allows you to track everything about your home so that it is completely protected in case there is any type of incident, as well as be able to grow it in order to show all of the ways that you've cared for your home. And so we mix that with some AI, and now you have the guidance needed in order to really make sure that you're empowered to be, um, you know, to have a digital brain in your house. It tells you when it needs something. You tell it when you did something, and the rest is all kind of baked in. So
Well, thank you for giving that digital smart brain, Miss Diane. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you need an applause for that.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you for your innovation. Externally, creating space is inherently political. It's about shifting structure and culture. Whether you see the most leverage for change, is it a building new companies, reforming existing teams, or creating alternative ecosystem entirely?
So when I think about the space and everything it takes in order to create where we are, you have to be aware of every influence out there. And so the housing market oftentimes has compliance and regulations. That compliance and regulations oftentimes are shaped by the political environment, as well as, you know, other types of, occurrences. So take weather, for example. Um, you could say that the weather here in South Florida has been a bit tumultuous with hurricanes and with things that wreak havoc on houses. You could say that the response, if you will, from FEMA or from compliance in order to make sure that houses are more hurricane proof, comes from lawmakers. I look at it where when I think about protecting the asset that I own, I really want to make sure that what I bought or what I built today stands for a really long period of time. So I'm not going to go ahead and say that we are absent of any type of political, influence one way or the other. All I'm going to say is that a lot of good old fashioned common sense and information allows us to create the mission of continuing to grow the value of the asset that we have. So,
Very well said, Miss Diane. So let's get tactical. For a woman joining a team, a car company where the space, I should say, feels narrow or rigid, what are the first subtle space creating moves she can make to establish her expertise and redefine her alone or role on her own terms?
so as I think about a woman starting out to figure out how to find a role on her own terms, I think she has to know her own strengths first. And there are several different ways along a person's journey to really understand what your complete strengths are. Some really great books read to get you started. And once you understand your strengths, are you an innovator? Are you somebody who is good at driving forward the innovative idea? Are you someone that's really good at collecting support? Are you really good at figuring out the details to make sure that everything is working the way it should be? I think understanding what you add to the table is the first step in understanding what tables you want to go to. And then the other part behind it is there has to be some sort of a personal mission. And the personal mission is what carries us forward on the days that are a little bit harder than other days. And when I think about my personal mission and what has prompted me to do this, I love the fact of being able to empower women and really make it something that um, can, bring us to, how do I want to call it? A very level playing field, right? Tech has predominantly been male in the past. And so having the ability to know that I'm an innovative thinker helps me to know that this is somewhere that I belong. So I'm not looking for belonging from someone else. It's an internal feeling that I know I can achieve on my own. So hopefully that gives some good advice and some positive first steps as to really just understanding who you are and what you bring to the table.
Miss Diane, how would you relate this question to your app? Creating space to the app world.
So creating space in the app world, when I think about the app world where there are thousands of different apps out there, we have to differentiate ourselves and we have to provoke people that want to uh, download ours, right, in order to get any part of the market share. And so when I think about what differentiates us is that the center of the app is about the person holding the phone, the person that is holding the property address. It's the homeowner. And that's really what it means. And so there's a lot of apps out there that try to do a fraction of what we've tried to. And ours is a really holistic nature where it's not just about the transaction. So it's not just about an MLS listing. It's not just about an insurance policy. It's not just about an alarm, you know, um, that you have in your house or any one facet. It's really about the holistic house. And this app allows you to make your home part of your family because it gives it a digital brain, it gives it a memory, right? It gives it the ability to raise its hand and say, hey, I need. It's time for my filters to be changed. It's time for me to have an annual walk to look for any cracks on my foundation and see if there's anything that is vulnerable. And so when we put the homeowner at the center of the app, we're 100% differentiated because at the end of the day, there really aren't a lot of apps that are making that happen.
Diane, can we use this worldwide? Any countries can use.
So right now it is in English. And so we have not changed as far as, or look to see will we accommodate every single structure in every single country? I'm the first to say that there is no castle that you can build. So you can build a house, you can build a log cabin, you can build many structures, but a castle's not there. And so I would love for anybody in a country other than, we'll call it North America, to give me a shout out through our app or through the website and say, can you put this in there? Because we want to hear from the folks that are using it and we want to make sure that we are putting the right additions based on how do we get this into the hands of people who want to make sure they're tracking their home. So the short answer is it's not limited. It is in English, and we don't have a castle yet. How's that for you?
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome, Miss Diane. Yes, please support Miss Diane. Give feedback so that the app will be more modified to a better version. So,
Yes.
Miss Diane, as a founder and CEO, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
So my long-term goal is that anytime there's a transaction, a real estate transaction, folks are empowered to say, let me go ahead and see the Home Hub AI reporting. Let me go ahead and see the summary so I can understand what I'm buying, so that we create a lot more transparency and we make it so that folks feel very empowered to be able to buy a house if they should like to buy a house. There's nothing wrong with renting. There's nothing wrong with leasing. There's nothing wrong with, kind of doing some additional housing, selections, maybe living on a boat, if you will. But I want it to be so that every single person that wants to buy a house or sell a house has the ability to make sure that there's a record on the home so that there aren't any secrets that would end up creating a money pit or an issue with them owning that home long term. When I think of my goals, in a few short weeks, we will have the latest and greatest updates out. And we are continuing to evolve, and we're continuing to really make it so that this business, if you will, is scalable and that we are able to continue moving forward to, I just like to say putting this in the hands of every single person because I just think it's a good thing. So
It's a good thing for sure. And good luck to your goals, Miss Diane. And looking forward for more success. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
well, I read a really good book um, that was called There's a Hole in My Love Cup. And while the book itself doesn't have a lot to do with being an entrepreneur, what it does tell you is that sometimes, no matter what age you are, you have an understanding of what you're meant to do. And then through life, through meeting people, through mentorship, without any type of, devious design, sometimes you get off that pathway. And so that book particularly helped me to realize that my path has always been entrepreneurship. And it's something that when you understand what path you're supposed to be on, it becomes very easy to bring your whole self, to be authentic, and to know that what you're doing, you're meant to be doing. And so those are a few things: is make sure that you figure out how to bring your authentic self wherever you happen to be, and you will find success.
Well, Miss Diane, thank you for that two-in-one advice, and of course, your recommended book. Thank you, thank you. So let's dream. If the movement of women creating space in tech is fully realized, what does the industry look and feel like in 20 years? How is work organized? How are products built? And how is success measured?
I think that it looks like the barriers to entry open up. And one of the barriers to entry is finding funding. And I have been on a bit of a tour through the country with looking at different tech uh, events, tech summits, tech, crunches, if you will. There's a lot of different ones that happen to be in the United States per se. And oftentimes the speakers are predominantly male, and you have to really work to get in those rooms. And so I would like to see in 20 years that we have it an opening for people that are trying to get into an entrepreneurial space without such an investment up front, because I do think that's a huge barrier. And I think as we really understand that women often have a lot of roles to play outside of career, that do take money and do take time, that eliminating some of those barriers to entry will help to make sure that we do give an opportunity for women to again match the pacing of gentlemen. So
Well, good luck for that, Miss Diane. And Before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in sixth season, abstract poetry in third season, and of course my book 101 review in sixth season two, a comedy 101 third season, and my food 101 in sixth season two, a geography 101 love letters, movie 101 review, music 101 our fifth season, science 101, sex 101 in fourth season, trivia 101, law 101, mental health 101, motivation 101, entrepreneurship 101, and of course my Bible verses 101 are my baby podcasts. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Miss Diane, for the woman listening who feels the urge to create more space for their or for her ideas, her team, or her own career, but doesn't know where to start. What is the single smallest, most courageous action she can take this week to begin?
Schedule coffee with somebody who you think is interesting and ask some really good questions and figure out where your inspiration lies. And I think when you figure out where your inspiration lies, it's going to be that pathway to move down in order to find your authentic self. So schedule coffee. That's my biggest piece of advice. Whether it's once a week, whether it's once a month with somebody who you don't really know very well, and get to know them, get to ask the questions that can inspire you.
Yes, people, schedule for a coffee or tea or what juice or whatever. Please connect. And thank you so much, Miss Diane, for sharing your app to the world and for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to us. So can you please invite our listeners to support your app, your advocacy, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Yes. So thank you.
Yes. So where do people can reach you, Miss
Sorry.
Diane?
So they can reach us on the web by going to www.homehubai.info, or they can download the app. That's the best. And if you download the app,
Mm.
you go to your app store, Home Hub AI, all one word, and look for our really cool orange logo.
Yes, people are support Mr. Yan because if you support her, for sure, more and more empowering app like this to rise. I have
Mhm.
one more question, Mr. Yan. When a woman successfully creates space for herself, she inherently creates a blueprint and a pathway for others. How does this multiplier effect work, and how can be intentionally accelerated?
Well, anytime you create space, you're asking people to come around because you want them to enjoy the view of what you have. And so I think it is literally bringing the folks with you that haven't had the opportunity and having them check it out. And I think that that creates a layered effect, and it really just connects people in a meaningful manner to elevate anyone who wants to.
To elevate for sure. And one more question, sorry. I
All
want to ask this question. Looking at the next generation, what are the most impactful ways women to teach today to create space for girls and young women who are not yet in the industry to ensure a pipeline is full of diverse, confident, and talent?
Oh, we have to we have to allow each other to keep our voices and to be heard. And so when I think about that, it goes back to, if you hear someone having a really good idea, you might want to say, hey, I'm in this space, come and share your idea over here. And those are the ways that we continue moving forward. Is don't be shy. um, don't think about, your idea being less than. You need to keep finding your voice, and you need to make sure that your voice is being heard.
Well, here on Book 101 Review, Miss Diane, we salute you for empowering women all over the world. So keep up the good work. Let's empower women all over the world through your advocacy. So I'm looking forward for our episode on Entrepreneurship 101, and let's talk about your, well, home hub AI itself. So, Miss Diane, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Marticon people, see you soon.